A single mistake here could mean death in under 6 minutes. This is the story of a Ukrainian rocket crew caught in Russian crosshairs. Their mission was simple: strike an ammunition depot. But when enemy radar locked onto them, survival became a desperate race against time. Stay with me, because what follows is a second-by-second duel of survival, and the outcome will shock you. At 22:30 local time on July 2nd, 2025, a Ukrainian Vilkha-M crew prepared for what should have been a routine fire mission. Their target: a Russian ammunition depot near Khartsyzk. But what began as a standard strike turned into a desperate fight for survival. Moments before launch, the crew's passive receivers picked up a signal they all dreaded: the distinctive frequency sweep of a Russian Zoopark counter-battery radar. 38 kilometers away, the enemy had just found them. The danger was immediate. This radar could detect outgoing rockets at 23 kilometers and calculate launch coordinates in under 30 seconds. 15 minutes earlier, the Ukrainians had fired a brief harassment barrage. That had been enough. Now, Russian MLRS units were hunting them. Based on standard response times, the crew had just 6 minutes before a volley of Smerch rockets tore into their position. Their 12-tube launcher sat ready with 4 precision-guided missiles. Each missile weighed 800 kilograms, carried a 170-kilogram high-explosive warhead, and could crack reinforced concrete. But to fire them, the crew first needed to upload target coordinates through a hardened military tablet connected to the missile guidance system. Normally, this took 3 minutes. Tonight, they had 90 seconds. The crew chief barked orders. The gunner's fingers raced across the tablet as encrypted data streamed into the missile's navigation package. Guidance relied on a triple system: GPS, Russia's GLONASS, and internal inertial navigation. Combined, they gave a 10 to 30 meter accuracy even at maximum range. But the process wasn't built for panic. And panic was exactly what followed. At 22:32, Russian electronic warfare assets increased jamming intensity across all GPS frequencies. The tablet screen flickered, satellite locks failed, and the system defaulted to manual input. Now, without GPS verification, the gunner had to trust pre-surveyed coordinates accurate within 5 meters. A mistake would mean a wasted shot. After giving away their position, thermal sensors confirmed more bad news. Rocket plumes 32 kilometers northeast. Russian Smerch systems had already fired. At a velocity of 1,200 meters per second, they would impact in just 4 minutes. The loader slammed the blast door shut as the automatic system worked to arm the missiles. Each round took 20 seconds to prepare. Standard doctrine required 45 seconds between launches to avoid heat damage. They would have 30. At 22:34, the first Vilkha missile ignited, roaring out of its tube. The launch signature was unmistakable: a bright column visible to radars and satellites across the front. No one waited to see where it flew. The driver started the 8x8 transporter's engine, the gunner already authorizing a second launch. At 22:34 and 30 seconds, the second missile fired. Exhaust plumes rose 40 meters into the sky, an infrared beacon for Russian sensors. By now, the Zoopark radar had calculated their position to within 50 meters and transmitted it to multiple fire units. The crew chief could hear the incoming Smerch rockets, that distinctive rising whistle that meant 30 seconds to impact. The third missile launched at 22:35. The blast shattered nearby windows in abandoned buildings and pushed the vehicle's thermal coating to its limit. They had one more shot. The driver revved the engine, ready to displace the moment the last missile cleared. At 22:35 and 30 seconds, the fourth missile launched, just as the first Russian rocket slammed into the ground 400 meters north. The shockwaves showered their position with debris. As more warheads bracketed the field, the driver floored the accelerator. The 30-ton vehicle lurched forward, escaping as explosions pounded their former position. The Ukrainians had risked everything. Now, 4 missiles streaked toward their target at 1,100 meters per second. But surviving the launch was only half the battle. Ahead lay Russia's layered air defenses. At 22:40, the lead Vilkha descended through 8,000 meters, its guidance computer processing updates 50 times per second. Russian jamming blanketed the airwaves, cutting GPS and even interfering with GLONASS. Within half a second, the missile defaulted to inertial navigation. Fiber optic gyros kept it on course with a precision drift of just 0.2 degrees per hour. At 22:41, a Tor M2 system detected the incoming threat. Its phased array radar locked on, pushing 600 kilowatts of tracking energy onto the missile's radar cross-section. Lock achieved. Interceptors armed. Within 7 seconds, the first two 9M338 missiles launched vertically, accelerating to Mach 2.8. On paper, it should have been a guaranteed kill. But the Vilkha wasn't flying predictably. At 22:42, it executed a programmed 15-degree bank, throwing off the intercept solution. The Tor's fire control computer recalculated. The operator authorized another salvo. 2 more interceptors screamed upward. These detonated within 50 meters, shrapnel peppering the missile's aluminum skin. But the warhead casing held, and onboard accelerometers corrected the 2-degree course deviation. Meanwhile, Pantsir S-1 batteries to the east joined the fight, swiveling their turrets to acquire the target. They launched salvos of 57 E-6 missiles, Mach 3 killers with a 20-kilometer envelope. The Ukrainian missile dodged again, a programmed pitch adjustment forcing the Pantsir missiles to overcorrect. By now, the first Vilkha had descended below 1,500 meters. Radar clutter from the terrain made tracking difficult. A second Ukrainian missile appeared 20 seconds behind, splitting Russian attention. Tor crews fired their remaining missiles. Pantsir systems divided fire across both targets. Doctrine demanded concentration, but fear forced dispersion. At 22:49, the lead Vilkha entered terminal dive. Altitude 400 meters, closing at 300 meters per second. The final Tor interceptors missed, exploding harmlessly behind it. The depot's last defense, a ZSU-23 Shilka, opened fire. 4 23mm autocannons unleashed a storm of tracer fire, thousands of rounds tearing into the night. It wasn't enough. At 22:49 and 15 seconds, the lead missile slammed into the eastern warehouse. Its 170-kilogram warhead detonated instantly, collapsing walls and igniting stored munitions. Within 0.3 of a second, secondary explosions cascaded through stacks of 152mm shells. The second Vilkha struck the northern warehouse, penetrating its roof and detonating amid crates of Grad rockets. 6 ignited simultaneously, ripping the roof off in a sheet of fire. The third missile hit the western warehouse, where advanced submunition warheads were stored. The chain reaction was catastrophic. Submunitions detonated inside their casings, scattering fragments and igniting fuel. A sheet of fire rolled across the compound. At 22:52, the fourth Vilkha arrived. Its programmed target no longer existed. Instead, it plunged into a hellscape of burning rocket fuel and detonating ordnance, its warhead adding to the inferno. By 22:55, an underground bunker containing 300mm Smerch rockets detonated. The blast gouged a 40-meter crater, a mushroom cloud rising into the sky. Fires consumed the depot. Rocket motors launched themselves horizontally, spinning wildly before exploding against fences, buildings, even distant tree lines. By 23:10, the depot was gone. 4 massive fires marked where warehouses had stood. Thousands of tons of ammunition were destroyed. Conservative estimates place the loss at 3,000 tons, equal to 3 weeks of Russian artillery supply in the Donbass. The strategic impact was immediate. Russian commanders ordered stockpiles dispersed across multiple sites, reducing efficiency and creating new vulnerabilities. Exactly what Ukrainian planners intended. 4 missiles, 1 strike. 3 weeks of Russian firepower erased in a single night. But the Ukrainians had paid a price. They had revealed their launcher's position to every Russian unit within 100 kilometers. And as they disappeared into the dark, one question lingered. How long before the hunters became the hunted?